It started with a saucepan, not a metaphor. A literal, dented, stainless steel saucepan that clattered against the tile floor about a foot from my leg. I was standing in the kitchen, holding a half-open box of pasta, and wondering where the hell she'd put the colander. The kids were whining in the background, cartoons blaring too loud, and my work phone buzzed somewhere under a pile of unpaid bills on the counter. Then, clang. The sound of steel meeting tile. The kind of sound that slices through your brain and leaves a ringing behind. I turned. She was standing by the sink, fists clenched, face flushed with rage. "I'm done, Mike!" I blinked, still holding the damn pasta. Done with what? "With this! With all of this!" she shouted, waving her arms like she was casting a curse on the house. "I'm sick of it. Sick of being the unpaid maid, the cook, the nanny, the emotional punching bag for this entire household." Her voice cracked near the end. Not from weakness, from something deeper. A pressure that had been simmering for years and finally exploded. I stepped back cautiously. "Okay, hold on. Where's this coming from?" "Where's it coming from?" she snapped, letting out a dry laugh. "How about the last 10 years, Mike? 10 years of me doing everything while you sit behind your laptop and pretend that bringing home a paycheck makes you a good husband." That hit. Not because it was true, but because she believed it was. I tried to keep my voice calm. "You told me you wanted to stay home with the kids, that it was important to you. That was before I realized I was signing up for indentured servitude." The kids had gone quiet in the next room. I could feel their little ears tuning in. I glanced at the archway, then back to her. "Can we talk about this somewhere else?" She ignored that, stepped closer, eyes burning. "No, we're going to talk about it now. You know what I am in this house? A ghost in leggings. I wake up before everyone, clean up after everyone, and when I finally sit down for 10 damn minutes, someone's asking me what's for dinner. I'm tired, Mike. I'm tired of serving." She wasn't yelling anymore. That was the scary part. Her voice dropped, but every word came out like a blade. Measured, intentional. "I didn't know you felt this way," I said quietly. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" "Because every time I started, you were too tired or in the middle of something important." I exhaled, rubbed my temples. "Okay, you're right. You've carried a lot. Too much. So, what do you want?" She looked surprised by the question, like she didn't expect me to actually ask. "I want a break," she said slowly. "I want to stop being everyone's doormat. I want out of this routine. I want to rest. And I want you to pick up the damn slack for once." "Okay," I said. "Then let's figure it out. I'll take over the house stuff. We'll hire a cleaner. Maybe get a sitter sometimes. Whatever you need." She narrowed her eyes. "Seriously?" "Yeah. You need a breather, I get that. You deserve one." She said nothing for a while, just stared at me. Then she walked past me and picked up the saucepan from the floor, set it in the sink like it had never happened. "I'm going away next weekend," she said. "A retreat, 3 days, me and a few girls, no phones, just space." I hesitated. "Where?" "Upstate, nature, journaling, yoga." I almost said something sarcastic, bit my tongue. "Okay," I said instead. "Go. I'll stay with the kids." She didn't thank me. She just nodded and left the kitchen. That night, I tucked Ava in bed and kissed Luke on the forehead. They didn't ask about Mom. I found her later lying on the couch, scrolling through her phone, a glass of wine in hand. She didn't look up when I sat down across from her. "You really want out of this?" I asked. She paused, looked at me for a long second. "I want to stop feeling like I'm dying in the place I built." I didn't sleep much that night, and when Friday came, I packed her weekend bag without her asking. I even put a little lavender sachet in there, something she used to love. She didn't notice. She left just before dinner. I watched the Uber pull out of the driveway. The weekend was chaos. Not the bad kind, just the kind that comes with 2 kids under 10, a dad who's suddenly responsible for every meal, and a dog that decided to get diarrhea at exactly the wrong time. Friday night, we made grilled cheese and danced in the kitchen to some old pop song Ava insisted on playing 4 times in a row. I let them build a tent out of couch cushions and bed sheets in the living room, and we all fell asleep inside it watching a Pixar movie. I woke up around 2 a.m. with a crick in my neck and a 7-year-old foot in my ribs, but strangely, I didn't mind. Saturday was pancakes, spilled syrup, homework battles, and a grocery run that ended with me bribing them with chocolate milk just to keep the peace. By Sunday, I was exhausted, but also kind of proud. I kept it together. I showed up, and I thought, maybe she just needs a weekend like this too. Maybe this will help her reset. I texted her a photo Sunday night, me, Luke, and Ava inside the blanket fort, all 3 of us making goofy faces. I wrote, "We miss you. Hope you're having a good time." No response. Okay, I told myself. Maybe they really did go phone-free. Maybe it's part of the whole retreat thing. Still, I kept checking my phone every hour or so until I fell asleep. She came home Monday evening. It was around 6:45. The front door opened and I heard her heels clicking across the hardwood. Not sneakers, not flip-flops, heels. That was the first weird thing. "Hey," I called out from the kitchen, where I was washing spaghetti sauce off a bib. She stepped in like she was returning from Paris Fashion Week. Flowing beige dress, hair perfectly done, big sunglasses on her head, even though the sun had already dipped. Her nails were freshly painted. Burgundy. She never wore burgundy. "Wow," I said, wiping my hands on a towel. "Retreat go well?" She smiled, this slow, almost dreamy smile. It was amazing, life-changing. "Yeah?" I tried to sound happy for her. "You look different." "I feel different." She dropped her bag on the floor like she didn't care if it scuffed, walked over to the wine cabinet and poured herself a glass without asking about the kids or dinner. "It reminded me who I am." I frowned. "And who's that?" She sipped. "Someone who doesn't fold laundry on Sundays anymore." I half laughed, waiting for the punchline. None came. "No, really," she said. "I realized I've been living someone else's life. I was trying to be this perfect wife and mother because that's what everyone expected from me. But I'm done performing. I'm done with the apron." "You never wore an apron?" I said, still trying to find the joke. "Exactly." Another sip. "But I might as well have. The point is, I'm reclaiming my space, my time, myself." I looked at her. At the lipstick, the earrings, the confidence that didn't feel like her. It felt like someone else trying on a persona and liking how it fit. "You're still a mother," I reminded her gently. She raised an eyebrow. "Of course I am. I love our kids. But being a mother doesn't mean losing yourself to the vacuum cleaner and snot wipes." I nodded slowly. "I agree. That's why I said I'd help more. We've already got a cleaning service coming twice a week. I've been doing dinners. I've rearranged my work schedule." She tilted her head. "And you want a cookie for that?" I blinked. "No, I thought we were in this together." She stared at me over the rim of her glass. "Maybe that's the problem." I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. The room felt colder than before, or maybe I'd just started noticing. That night I tucked the kids in by myself again. They asked why Mommy didn't say goodnight. I told them she was tired. Truth was, she was in the bathroom for over an hour. Door locked. Music playing. When she finally came to bed, she didn't look at me. She just lay down, turned her back and said, "I'm starting yoga classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and a book club on weekends. I need more time for me." "Okay," I said, staring at the ceiling. "Just don't forget about us." She didn't respond, but I swear I could hear her eyes rolling in the dark. I tried to convince myself it was temporary, that she just needed to blow off some steam, rediscover herself, maybe let go of a few expectations that had piled on over the years. Who could blame her? Raising 2 kids isn't easy. Managing a house isn't glamorous. Maybe this was her version of a midlife reboot. But deep down, something didn't sit right. It wasn't just the retreat or the yoga classes or the wine-fueled book club with the girls. It was the way she looked at me now, like I was some dull object in the room, a reminder of everything she'd grown tired of. She used to ask how my day went. Now I'd get a nod or a distracted "uh-huh" while she scrolled on her phone. She used to laugh at my dumb jokes. Now, even if I got a chuckle, it felt polite, forced, like humoring a coworker at a party you didn't want to be at. And her phone, God, that thing became glued to her hand, always face down when I walked into the room, always with that forced little smile when she'd read a message and pretend it wasn't anything important. One evening, I walked into the kitchen as she quickly locked the screen and slid it into her robe pocket. "Who was that?" I asked casually, drying my hands after doing the dishes. "Just Trish. She's going through something." I nodded. "Okay. You're texting a lot lately." She didn't even look up from the fridge. "Sorry. Didn't know I needed a permission slip." That one stung. I didn't press. I wasn't trying to control her. I was just trying to understand what was happening to us. But I knew better than to keep poking. At least not yet. A few days later, I came home early from work to surprise the kids. I picked up ice cream on the way, thinking we'd have a little after-school treat before homework time. I walked through the door, bags in hand, and heard music coming from upstairs. Not the kind she usually played. This was smooth, jazzy, sultry, not kids-safe radio. I tiptoed upstairs, mostly out of curiosity. As I reached the bedroom, I heard her laughing. That laugh. The laugh she used to save for me when I made her blush. The one that came out without thinking. Then silence. A short pause. Then, "No, you're terrible. Stop. I'm serious. God, I can't even look at you right now." She wasn't on speakerphone. That was the tone of someone wearing AirPods, whispering giggles, intimacy behind closed doors. I backed away. Slowly, my stomach dropped. I didn't confront her. Not then. I stood downstairs in the kitchen for 10 full minutes, staring at the carton of melting ice cream in the bag. I threw it out before the kids came home, said I forgot to bring any, lied through my teeth and felt numb doing it. That night after the kids went to bed, I sat on the porch and tried to breathe through it, tried to convince myself I was overreacting. Maybe it was Trish, and they were just gossiping about reality shows. Maybe it was nothing. But I wasn't stupid. The next day, I pulled out her old iPad, the one we used to sync with the family account. She hadn't used it in months, or so I thought. Turned out, it was still connected to her messages. I didn't plan to snoop. I really didn't. But there it was, all of it, laid out in blue and gray bubbles. Dozens of messages, pictures, pet names, conversations with someone saved under a fake name. Lena, yoga. Except Lena wasn't real, and the messages weren't from a woman. I didn't plan to snoop. I really didn't. But there it was, all of it, laid out in blue and gray bubbles. Dozens of messages, pictures, pet names. A contact saved as Lena, yoga. Except Lena didn't talk like a woman. The messages were clearly from a man. The tone, the language, the things he said. "I can still smell you on my hands. I didn't want to wash them. Your skin was so soft that night. I keep replaying the way you leaned into me when I kissed your neck. I wish I could wake up next to you instead of sneaking out like a damn thief." And her replies? "I still feel your fingers on my waist. It's like my body remembers you." That night was electric, like I finally woke up from sleepwalking. "Don't worry, he suspects nothing. I just tell him I'm on a journey of self-care." Every sentence cut deeper than the last. There were pictures too. Not outright obscene, but intimate. Her in that beige dress, taking a mirror selfie with her hair messy and lips parted. A bathroom shot where she wore nothing but a towel, his arm visible in the reflection, wrapped around her waist, hand low on her stomach. Same burgundy nails, same smirk she used to give me when we were still in love. The timestamp? Saturday night. right when I was building a pillow fort with our kids and texting her, "We miss you." She didn't reply because she was busy making memories with him, whoever he was. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed next to her, listening to the soft rhythm of her breathing, wondering how someone could lie so still with a heart so loud. I turned my face toward the ceiling and tried not to picture the hotel room. The towel, his hands, her messages. She shifted slightly in her sleep. Her shoulder brushed mine. I pulled away. The next morning, she was already in the kitchen when I came downstairs. "Morning," she said cheerfully. "I made you a cup." Her voice was light, her tone fresh, like someone who'd just finished a good workout, or a good weekend away with a man who wasn't her husband. I took the coffee. My hand didn't shake. My voice didn't break. "Thanks." I don't know how I managed to get through that day, or the next, or the one after that. I took care of the kids. I went to work. I laughed when I was supposed to laugh, nodded when I was supposed to nod, and went to bed every night next to the woman who was cheating on me with someone she hadn't even bothered to hide that well. But I needed to be sure, really sure. And more than that, I needed to see just how deep the rabbit hole went. So I watched, listened, noticed the details I used to miss. She started dressing better for her yoga classes, real makeup, earrings, perfume, the same one she used to save for date nights with me. But when she came home, she looked untouched by sweat or effort. Sometimes she even brought back takeout. She always left right after the kids were at school, always returned before dinner, never missed a beat. One Thursday, she came back humming. I was in the garage pretending to fix the damn water heater. I watched through the slatted window as she parked the car, stepped out, adjusted her hair in the side mirror, and smiled at something on her phone before putting it away. She only smiled like that when no one was looking. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to wait for her to confess. I wasn't going to beg or accuse or play the part of the clueless fool anymore. I dug up our old backup phone from the junk drawer and ordered a SIM. I synced the backup phone to her cloud, to the shared photo stream she clearly forgot was still active. Over the next few days, I got everything. A blurry photo of a hotel keycard, a mirror selfie in a restaurant bathroom, a plate of sushi with 2 sets of chopsticks, a pair of men's sunglasses on the dashboard of her car. Little things, but together, they screamed the truth louder than any text message ever could. One image hit me particularly hard. She'd taken it in the rearview mirror while stopped at a red light. Her lips were glossed, her expression playful, her hand stretched back, and resting on her thigh was someone else's hand. Large, tanned, male. I stared at it for a long time, not because I was surprised, but because it confirmed what I already knew. This wasn't just a fling. It wasn't a one-time thing. It was planned, coordinated, hidden only just enough to preserve the illusion of marriage. And she had no idea I knew. It's a strange kind of pain to sit across from someone at dinner, pass them the salt, ask how their day was, and know deep down that they're living a second life just outside your reach. That weekend, we took the kids to the zoo. She suggested it. Family Day, she called it, like we were still functioning, like the foundation beneath us hadn't cracked wide open. She held Ava's hand, bought Luke a toy snake at the gift shop, laughed at the flamingos like she always did. I caught myself watching her more than the animals, watching how easily she played the role, and how easily I played mine. On the way home, she fell asleep in the passenger seat. Her phone lit up once, a message. I didn't touch it. I didn't need to. Back at home, I bathed the kids, made grilled cheese, tucked them in. She was in the bathroom again, door locked, music playing softly behind it. Same playlist every time. Slow, moody songs about longing and secret lives. It was getting harder to stay quiet, to keep pretending. Monday morning, I was making coffee. She walked in already dressed. Tight jeans, flowy blouse, fresh eyeliner. "So there's a women's circle thing this weekend," she said, casually pouring oat milk into her glass. A kind of retreat. Trish and some of the girls are going. I think I should go too. Another retreat. Another lie. I stirred my coffee too hard. It sloshed over the rim. Didn't you just do one of those? That was a month ago. It was 2 weeks ago. She hesitated, just for a second. Well, this one's different. It's more focused. Deep work. Where is it? Same place, upstate. We're carpooling. It's already booked. She said it like a fact, like I didn't really get a say. I nodded slowly. What days? Friday through Sunday. I'll be back by dinner. Right. She started to leave the room, then paused at the doorway. Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like I'm doing something wrong. I held her gaze. Should I be? Her expression tightened for a moment, like something flickered behind her eyes. Then it vanished. I'm going to be late, she muttered and grabbed her keys. I watched the door close behind her. Then I sat at the table for a long time, let the coffee go cold in my hands. That evening, after the kids were asleep, I went into the garage and pulled the dusty safe from under the tool shelf. Inside were the usual things: birth certificates, old passports, a few old printed photos. I added a flash drive. On it, screenshots of every message, every picture, every timestamp, insurance. I wasn't sure what I'd do with it yet. I just knew this wasn't over. Not yet. That night, after she went to bed, I sat at the kitchen table in the dark and made a decision. The next day, Thursday, I left work early, called my buddy Chris, and asked if he still had his old dashcam set up. He used to lend it out to Uber drivers, full HD, motion activated, silent. Sure, he said. You finally catching your teenager speeding? Something like that, I said. I didn't offer more. He dropped it off that evening. On Friday morning, while she was in the shower, I went to her car in the driveway and installed the camera discreetly, right behind the rearview mirror, tucked just enough to be invisible from inside the cabin unless you knew where to look. It took less than 5 minutes. She left at 11:04 a.m. No hug goodbye, just a rushed, distracted, "There's lasagna in the fridge. Luke's project is due Monday. Love you." She didn't wait for a reply. I watched her back out of the driveway, that same playlist of hers playing as she drove off. The rest of the weekend was a blur. I went through the motions with the kids. Grocery shopping, pancakes, coloring books, late-night cartoons. But my mind wasn't in it. I kept checking the time, watching the driveway. And when Sunday evening finally came, she arrived right on schedule, 6:52 p.m. Hair damp, no makeup, holding her bag like it had been used for anything except a romantic getaway. "Hi," she said like she'd been gone for a few hours, not 3 days. "Hey." "The retreat was intense," she added, dropping her bag near the stairs. "A lot of deep stuff, emotional unpacking." I smiled. "Glad to hear it." That night, once she was asleep, I retrieved the camera. I sat in the garage, plugged it into my laptop, and watched. She'd driven north, just like she said. 2 hours on the highway, then a turn-off, not toward the lodge she showed me online, toward a small town off Route 8, a roadside motel, the kind with neon lights and doors that open to the parking lot. She parked, waited 5 minutes, then he appeared. A tall man in a dark hoodie and baseball cap. He knocked on her window. She got out smiling, that smile, and they hugged for a long time. Then she took his hand, and they walked together to the motel. The timestamp, 3:26 p.m. The exact time she'd texted me. Starting group meditation, phones off till Sunday. I didn't fast forward. I watched the whole thing. Hours of footage. Parking lot still. Curtains closed. Lights off. Nothing graphic, but everything said. I sat there in the dark for a long time. Then I opened the flash drive I'd hidden in the safe and added the video files. I didn't know what I was going to do yet, but I knew something was over. The next morning, everything felt mechanical. I poured cereal for the kids, made coffee, packed lunches, listened to Luke explain his diorama plans for the solar system, and nodded at all the right moments. Sabrina, That's my wife's name, by the way, floated through the kitchen like she hadn't just spent the weekend in a motel with another man. She kissed Ava on the head, tied her shoelaces, laughed at something on her phone, and when I glanced over, I saw that familiar look on her face. Contentment. Not the kind that comes from peace. The kind that comes from having everything you want, without consequences. I might go to that herbalist event next weekend, she said casually as she sipped from her floral mug. It's supposed to be really transformational. I stirred my coffee slowly. Another retreat? Not a retreat, a workshop. I nodded. Same guy? Her hand paused mid-sip, just for half a second. What guy? I looked her right in the eye. The one with the motel room. The cup stopped moving. Silence stretched across the kitchen like someone had turned the volume off. Excuse me? She said, her voice suddenly colder, tighter. I kept my tone steady, low, quiet. The kids were just down the hall. I know, I said. I know everything. She opened her mouth like she was about to go on autopilot, deny, deflect, distract, but I held up my hand before she could speak. I have the messages, the photos, the videos. I know where you were. I know who you were with. Her face flushed, but it wasn't shame. It was rage. You went through my stuff? No, I said. You left your trail in plain sight. You just didn't think I was paying attention. She looked at me with pure contempt, like I had violated some sacred law. So what now? You gonna throw a tantrum? Make a scene? You think spying on me makes you a victim? I blinked. That was it. That was her move. Attack. Make me the problem. Classic misdirection. I'm not yelling. I'm not even angry anymore, I said. I'm just done. Done? With this version of us, with the lies, with playing husband to someone who checked out months ago. She laughed, actually laughed, bitter and sharp. Oh, please. You think I wanted things to go this way? You think I planned it? No, I said. I think you let it happen because it was easy, because I made life comfortable enough that you didn't have to choose. You abandoned me emotionally years ago, Mike. You were so wrapped up in work, deadlines, your own world. I was invisible. I didn't cheat. No, you just left me alone in the middle of a marriage. I had nothing left, and you were too busy to notice. I stared at her for a long second. She meant it. She actually believed that somehow this was about me not noticing her pain, not reading her mind, not intuitively guessing that I need a break meant I'm sleeping with someone else. That's what you're going with? I asked. You're not sorry? She crossed her arms. I'm sorry it had to come to this, but I'm not sorry for taking care of myself. That sentence, that one sentence made something in me go ice cold. I'm getting divorced, I said. Her jaw tightened. Are you serious? I've already spoken to a lawyer. Custody will be joint unless you push me, but I have everything documented if you try. She stepped back like I'd slapped her, but I didn't feel anything. No guilt, no regret, just relief. You're overreacting, she said, voice shaking now. We can work through this. You're just hurt. No, I said. I was hurt when I found the messages. Now I'm awake. She didn't answer. She just stood there, clutching the edge of the counter like it might save her from drowning. But I was already gone. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Clean, fast, unceremonious. We sold the house. I got joint custody, just like I said. The kids stay with me half the week. I kept my job, moved into a smaller place, and traded the family SUV for something that didn't carry memories in the passenger seat. She moved into a condo across town. I heard she tried to make it look like one of those boho influencer apartments. Plants, crystals, framed quotes about healing and growth. Her Instagram turned into a self-love shrine, all pastel filters and captions like "Becoming Her" and "I wasn't lost, I was just waiting to be found." The guy from the motel? Gone 2 weeks after I filed. Apparently, he wasn't ready for a full-time goddess. She texted me once late at night. just a single line. Do you think we made a mistake? I didn't reply, because no, I didn't make a mistake. I stayed, I worked, I tried. She chose something else. Now I live quieter, not happier, not yet, but real. I have peace in my space. My kids know they're loved. I cook dinner, even if it's just pasta most nights. I don't wake up wondering what lie I'll find. And sometimes when I'm tucking Luke in or brushing Ava's hair, I catch myself thinking about that moment at the kitchen table, when she slammed the saucepan and said she was done being a maid. Turns out she wasn't tired of chores. She was tired of me, but that's her burden now.